New obstacles this morning for the California family fighting to keep a brain-dead teenager alive.
The Oakland Children's Hospital is refusing to let an outside doctor come in and do the procedures necessary to move Jahai McMath to another facility. The hospital says she is legally dead and will not participate in, I'm quoting here, performing medical procedures on the body of a deceased human.
A restraining order is keeping the hospital from removing her from a ventilator for now, but it runs out next week.
It's such a shocking case that we wondered how something like this would play out in Tennessee. What is legal? Miles Mason is a family law attorney. Miles, welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I was always under the impression that it is the family's decision and that a hospital could not, or a doctor could not override a family or an individual's decision about what happens if he or she's on life support. Am I wrong?
The magic moment is when a patient is declared legally dead.
Okay.
That's the magic moment. And then you have this overlay of hospital policy. For example, not letting another doctor who doesn't have privileges at that hospital appear. Second, there are state regulations that apply. And third, state law.
Okay.
And it does not shock me at all to think that whether it be in California or Tennessee, that those policies, regulations, and laws may conflict.
And now with you say legally dead, as a parent, you want your child's heart to stop before you consider them legally dead. I mean, they're considering with no brain movement and nothing, no movement, no anything, no blood vessel, nothing's happening with her. But the heart is still beating, though we believe it's happening because of the ventilator and everything. As a parent, though, how can you deal with something like this? And when you say legally dead, but your child's heart is still beating.
Exactly, and that's a tough situation. Now, we don't see this very often because most of the time a family member is going to understand the physical realities of the situation.
Right.
I hope that's not the case in this situation, but what if somebody is giving bad advice to the family and the parents? And that's the real tragedy here.
Well, and the credibility of the hospital is tainted, no doubt, in the family's mind because of what happened with what's supposed to be a simple procedure, a tonsillectomy. But back to the point, what is the law in Tennessee? If something like this happened here, would a family be able to prevail? Or again, as you said, it's hospital policy. There's all sorts of other things.
Right. Once you have a conflict among the policies, procedures, and regulations for a hospital and a family's desire, and let's assume that the family has the legal right to make that decision. There's not an advanced care plan under Tennessee law in effect in this situation.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, the advanced care plan is Tennessee state forms have put together a plan that any individual can fill out and designate who is the person to make the legal decisions for procedures, turning off the ventilator, that sort of thing.
Okay.
All those different types of decisions are regulated under Tennessee law, and there's a particular form for it, or there are separate forms that a lawyer can prepare to deliver to the hospital, or that can be included within the medical records. That being said, once you have a conflict, the proper place is the courts for a judge to decide.
Okay. Let's go back to that advanced care plan, though. It sounds almost like we all should have one of those. Should we?
No question, because it's real, just like having a will. It helps tell people who are left after we pass what we want, and it helps resolve disputes before they get started.
Okay. The consult form that everybody signs when you go into any hospital, do we all need to, not that we don't read it, but we really need to dissect it. I mean, let's be honest. You sign it, you're ready to go in and out. I mean, right. The consent form, do we need to more like dissect that even more so as a patient?
In advance, absolutely, because the proper place for that is in your lawyer's office as you're planning your will, as you're planning your affairs, keeping them in order and getting them in order, especially as we get older. That's very, very important. So you can make the decisions, have that thought processes in a quiet, calm environment, as opposed to where there's a fever, there's a specific ailment and trauma right in front of you.
Where you have a decision that has to be made right then.
And 99.99% of people are going to just go with what the doctor says, and that's not necessarily a bad idea, but the question is the legal procedure and process. What do you really want, regardless of what the law requires?
Okay, thank you so much. And we put Miles' information on the screen because clearly the time to get your affairs in order is before a crisis. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we will be right back.